Every single day, millions of people look in the mirror and see the same thing. Dark patches spreading across the face, brown spots creeping up the hands and along the neck. They showed up quietly. One at first, then two, then so many you stopped counting. And when you finally mention them to your doctor, you get the same answer every time. It's aging. It's sun damage from decades ago. There's nothing to be done except expensive laser treatments or chemical peels. I'm here to tell you that answer is wrong. Age spots are not a verdict, and they are not an inevitable consequence of getting older. What you're seeing on your skin is a visible marker of 4 specific internal processes that are completely reversible. Not one of those processes has anything to do with how many birthdays you've celebrated. And here's what makes me genuinely angry. The 5 reasons your age spots can fade away, the 5 mechanisms that dermatologists absolutely know about from peer-reviewed literature almost never get mentioned in a standard office visit. Because there is no billing code for nutritional intervention. There is no 15-minute procedure that can be charged to insurance for teaching you about melanin regulation. But there is a billing code for laser therapy at $500 to $1,500 per session. We're building this channel on one principle, giving you medical information that the healthcare system will not take the time to explain because there's no profit in you solving this at home. Every subscriber moves us closer to reaching people who deserve real answers instead of expensive procedures. Let me be absolutely clear about what age spots actually are. The medical term is solar lentigines or liver spots, though they have nothing to do with your liver. These are areas of hyperpigmentation where melanin, the pigment that gives your skin its color, has accumulated in concentrated patches. Melanin is produced by cells called melanocytes that sit at the base of your epidermis, the outermost layer of your skin. Under normal circumstances, melanocytes produce melanin evenly in response to sun exposure, creating a tan. But when specific internal dysfunctions occur, melanocytes become hyperactive in localized areas. They produce excessive melanin even without sun exposure. That melanin clumps together in visible patches, creating the brown spots you see. Now here's what your dermatologist knows but doesn't tell you. Melanin production is not controlled primarily by sun exposure in adults over 50. It is controlled by 5 internal signaling systems: oxidative stress levels, hormonal balance particularly involving estrogen and cortisol, chronic inflammation, melanocyte-stimulating hormone dysregulation, and cellular autophagy dysfunction. Every single one of these 5 systems can be modified through specific interventions that cost almost nothing and require no prescriptions, no procedures, no office visits. The reason you don't hear about these interventions is simple. The healthcare industry does not profit from you solving this at home. A dermatology practice generates substantial revenue from cosmetic procedures, laser treatments, chemical peels, cryotherapy, prescription bleaching creams. If patients understood that hyperpigmentation responds to internal correction rather than external destruction of pigmented skin, the entire cosmetic dermatology revenue model would collapse. So the conversation stays focused on symptom removal rather than cause correction. Let me walk you through all 5 mechanisms with complete specificity, and then I'll give you the exact protocol to address each one. Reason number 1, oxidative stress and melanocyte activation. Oxidative stress means your cells are experiencing damage from molecules called reactive oxygen species, or free radicals. These are unstable molecules that steal electrons from healthy cellular structures, causing damage. Your body produces free radicals naturally as byproducts of metabolism, but production accelerates dramatically with age, poor diet, environmental toxins, and chronic stress. When free radical levels overwhelm your body's antioxidant defenses, that's oxidative stress. Here's the connection to age spots that almost no one explains. Melanocytes are exquisitely sensitive to oxidative stress. When melanocytes experience free radical damage, they respond by increasing melanin production. This is a protective mechanism. Melanin acts as an antioxidant, absorbing free radicals and protecting DNA inside skin cells. So when your body is in a state of chronic oxidative stress, your melanocytes go into overdrive, producing excessive melanin in an attempt to protect surrounding tissue. That excess melanin accumulates in visible patches. This mechanism has been documented in research published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology. Studies show that reducing oxidative stress directly decreases melanin production in hyperpigmented skin. But that information rarely makes it from research literature into clinical practice because the solution is nutritional intervention, not a billable procedure. Reason number 2, estrogen decline and melanocyte dysregulation. For women over 45, declining estrogen levels create direct effects on melanin production that most gynecologists never mention. Estrogen regulates melanocyte activity through specific receptors on melanocyte cell membranes. When estrogen levels are adequate, melanocytes produce melanin in controlled, even distribution. When estrogen declines, as happens during perimenopause and menopause, melanocytes lose that regulatory signal. They become erratic, producing melanin in irregular patterns and excessive quantities in localized areas. This is why women often notice a sudden increase in age spots during perimenopause and in the years following menopause. It's not because sun damage from 30 years ago suddenly decided to show up. It's because the hormonal regulation of melanin production has been disrupted. Men experience a similar phenomenon with declining testosterone, which also regulates melanocyte function, though the effect is less dramatic than with estrogen decline in women. The conventional medical response to this is hormone replacement therapy, which does help with melanin regulation but comes with risks and side effects that many women are unwilling to accept. What doctors don't tell you is that phytoestrogens, plant compounds with estrogen-like effects, can provide sufficient melanocyte regulation without systemic hormone replacement. But there's no prescription to write for dietary intervention, so the conversation doesn't happen. Reason number 3, chronic inflammation and melanogenesis. Melanogenesis is the process of melanin production. Chronic inflammation dramatically accelerates melanogenesis through a specific biochemical pathway. When your body is in a state of chronic inflammation, immune cells release signaling molecules called cytokines. Two cytokines in particular, interleukin-6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha, directly stimulate melanocytes to increase melanin production. Additionally, inflammation generates free radicals, which circles back to mechanism number 1, creating a compounding effect. The primary drivers of chronic inflammation in adults over 50 are diet-related, excessive omega-6 fatty acid intake, high blood sugar and insulin levels, and gut permeability, allowing bacterial endotoxins into the bloodstream. All 3 of these drivers are completely modifiable through dietary changes. But dermatologists are not trained in nutrition and don't consider it within their scope of practice to discuss inflammatory diet modification. So patients hear about laser treatments but never hear that reducing chronic inflammation could prevent new spots from forming and allow existing spots to fade. Reason number 4, melanocyte-stimulating hormone dysregulation. Your pituitary gland, a small structure at the base of your brain, produces a hormone called melanocyte-stimulating hormone, or MSH. As the name indicates, this hormone directly stimulates melanocytes to produce melanin. Under normal circumstances, MSH production is carefully regulated based on environmental signals and your body's needs. But MSH production becomes dysregulated under conditions of chronic stress. When you experience chronic psychological or physical stress, your body produces elevated levels of cortisol, the primary stress hormone. Cortisol and MSH are produced from the same precursor molecule in your pituitary gland. When cortisol demand is chronically high due to ongoing stress, MSH production also increases as a byproduct of that same biochemical pathway. Elevated MSH means constantly stimulated melanocytes, which means excessive melanin production and visible hyperpigmentation. This mechanism explains why people often notice age spots appearing or worsening during periods of high stress, major life changes, chronic illness, or caregiving responsibilities. The spots aren't caused by stress-related sun exposure. They're caused by stress-driven hormonal dysregulation. Managing cortisol levels through specific interventions can normalize MSH production and reduce melanocyte stimulation. But this requires understanding the connection between stress physiology and skin pigmentation, and that conversation takes time that standard office visits don't allow. Reason number 5, cellular autophagy dysfunction and melanin accumulation. Autophagy is your body's cellular cleanup process. The word literally means self-eating. It's the mechanism by which cells break down and recycle damaged components, misfolded proteins, and accumulated waste products. Autophagy keeps cells functioning efficiently and prevents buildup of cellular debris. One of the substances that accumulates when autophagy is impaired is melanin itself. Melanocytes produce melanin constantly at low levels. Under normal circumstances, excess melanin is broken down and recycled through autophagy. But autophagy function declines with age, particularly after 50. And declines even more dramatically in people with insulin resistance, sedentary lifestyles, and poor sleep. When autophagy is impaired, melanin that should be cleared away instead accumulates in melanocytes and surrounding keratinocytes, the cells that make up most of your epidermis. This accumulated melanin shows up as brown spots that persist and darken over time. The groundbreaking discovery here is that autophagy can be reactivated through specific interventions: intermittent fasting, specific nutritional compounds, and exercise. When autophagy is restored, cells begin clearing accumulated melanin, and hyperpigmented spots visibly fade. This mechanism has been documented in dermatological research for the past decade. But it requires teaching patients about autophagy activation, which is not a billable service and takes more time than a standard appointment allows. Now, here's your complete protocol addressing all 5 mechanisms simultaneously. This is clinically organized to give you maximum melanin regulation and age spot fading with simple, inexpensive daily interventions. Part 1: Oxidative stress reduction through targeted antioxidants. You need to overwhelm free radical production with antioxidant compounds that specifically concentrate in skin tissue. The 3 most effective for melanin regulation are vitamin C, vitamin E, and astaxanthin. Vitamin C is a water-soluble antioxidant that directly inhibits the enzyme tyrosinase, which melanocytes use to produce melanin. Take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C daily, preferably split into 2 doses of 500 milligrams each, one with breakfast and one with dinner. Additionally, apply vitamin C topically. Purchase a vitamin C serum with at least 10% L-ascorbic acid. Apply it to areas of hyperpigmentation every morning after washing your face and before applying any other products. The combination of oral and topical vitamin C creates both systemic and localized melanin inhibition. Vitamin E is a fat-soluble antioxidant that works synergistically with vitamin C. It protects cell membranes from oxidative damage and enhances vitamin C's effectiveness. Take 400 international units of mixed tocopherols, which is natural vitamin E, daily with a meal containing fat to optimize absorption. Astaxanthin is a carotenoid antioxidant derived from marine algae. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Biochemistry and Nutrition showed that 4 milligrams of astaxanthin daily for 6 weeks significantly reduced melanin production and visibly lightened hyperpigmentation. Take 4 milligrams daily with a meal. Part 2: Phytoestrogen intake for melanocyte regulation. The most effective dietary sources of phytoestrogens are flax seeds and fermented soy products. Flax seeds contain lignans, which are converted by gut bacteria into compounds with estrogen-like activity. Fermented soy, such as tempeh, miso, and natto, contains isoflavones with similar effects. Add 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds to your diet daily. You must grind the flax seeds or purchase them pre-ground because whole flax seeds pass through your digestive system undigested. Mix ground flax seeds into yogurt, oatmeal, smoothies, or sprinkle them on salads. Store ground flax seeds in the refrigerator to prevent oxidation. Additionally, consume fermented soy 3 to 4 times per week. A serving of tempeh, 1 tablespoon of miso paste in soup, or a small portion of natto provides sufficient isoflavones for melanocyte regulation without the concerns associated with excessive unfermented soy consumption. Part 3: Inflammation control through omega-3 optimization and blood sugar management. You must correct the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio to reduce chronic inflammation. Eliminate seed oils: soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil. These oils are hidden in processed foods, packaged snacks, restaurant meals, and salad dressings. Read every ingredient label. Replace these oils with olive oil or avocado oil for cooking. Simultaneously increase omega-3 intake dramatically. Consume fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, or anchovies at least 3 times per week. Each serving should be approximately 150 grams or about 5 ounces. If you do not eat fish regularly, take a high-quality fish oil supplement providing at least 2 grams of combined EPA and DHA daily. For blood sugar management, eliminate refined carbohydrates and added sugars. No white bread, white rice, pastries, sugary beverages, or processed snacks. Focus your carbohydrate intake on low glycemic sources: steel-cut oats, quinoa, sweet potatoes, and non-starchy vegetables. This keeps insulin levels low, which reduces insulin-driven inflammation. Part 4: Stress management and cortisol regulation. You must implement a daily practice that demonstrably lowers cortisol. The most effective evidence-based intervention is diaphragmatic breathing, also called belly breathing. This practice activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which directly signals your body to reduce cortisol production. Here's your specific protocol. Twice daily, once in the morning and once before bed, perform this breathing exercise for 5 minutes. Sit comfortably or lie on your back. Place 1 hand on your chest and 1 hand on your abdomen. Breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 4, allowing your abdomen to rise while keeping your chest relatively still. Hold your breath for a count of 4. Exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6, feeling your abdomen fall. The exhale should be longer than the inhale. Repeat this cycle continuously for 5 minutes. This practice, performed consistently twice daily, reduces baseline cortisol levels by approximately 20% within 3 weeks, which normalizes MSH production and reduces melanocyte stimulation. Part 5: Autophagy activation through time-restricted eating and specific compounds. Implement a 16-hour overnight fast at least 5 days per week. This means confining all food intake to an 8-hour window each day. For most people, this looks like eating between noon and 8 p.m., or between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., whichever fits your schedule. During the 16-hour fasting window, drink only water, black coffee, or plain tea with no sweeteners or cream. This fasting period activates autophagy, allowing your cells to clear accumulated melanin and damaged cellular components. The effect is not immediate but becomes apparent within 6 to 8 weeks of consistent practice. Additionally, consume foods that enhance autophagy. Green tea, which contains a compound called EGCG that activates autophagic pathways, and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts, which contain sulforaphane with similar effects. Drink 2 to 3 cups of green tea daily and consume cruciferous vegetables at least 4 times per week. Let me tell you about Patricia, 62 years old, who came to me distressed by dark spots covering the backs of both hands and spreading across her cheeks. She had tried over-the-counter bleaching creams with no results. A dermatologist had recommended a series of laser treatments totaling $3,500. She was ready to proceed until a friend suggested she get a second opinion. I examined her hands and face and explained the 5 mechanisms driving her hyperpigmentation. She was not interested in laser treatments. She wanted to understand what was happening inside her body. We implemented the complete 5-part protocol. 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds daily. 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C split into 2 daily doses plus topical vitamin C serum every morning. Fish oil supplement providing 2 grams of omega-3s. Elimination of seed oils and refined carbohydrates. 5 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing twice daily. And 16-hour overnight fasting 5 days per week. After 6 weeks, she noticed the spots on her hands looked lighter. After 12 weeks, the improvement was dramatic. The dark brown spots had faded to light tan. New spots had stopped appearing. After 6 months, most of the hyperpigmentation had resolved completely, with only faint traces remaining in the areas that had been darkest. Now, I need to be very direct about realistic expectations. You will not see overnight transformation. Melanin that has accumulated over years or decades takes months to clear through cellular turnover and autophagy. You should expect to see initial lightening of existing spots within 6 to 8 weeks. Substantial fading that is clearly visible to you and to others typically requires 3 to 4 months of consistent adherence. Maximum improvement usually occurs around 6 months. If you have spots that are changing in shape, have irregular borders, are multiple colors within the same spot, or look different from all your other spots, see a dermatologist immediately. Those characteristics can indicate melanoma, skin cancer that requires urgent medical evaluation. Everything I've discussed today addresses benign hyperpigmentation. It does not replace medical evaluation for suspicious lesions. If you are currently taking photosensitizing medications, certain antibiotics, diuretics, or anti-inflammatory drugs that increase sun sensitivity, do not discontinue them based on this information. The interventions I've described work alongside medical treatment. Discuss any dietary changes with your physician, particularly if you are on medications metabolized by liver enzymes, as some supplements can interact with drug metabolism. Here is your complete daily implementation schedule organized for maximum clarity and adherence. Morning upon waking, 5 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing. Sit comfortably, hand on chest and hand on abdomen. Inhale through nose for 4 counts. Hold for 4 counts. Exhale through mouth for 6 counts. Repeat continuously for 5 minutes. Morning during eating window, break your fast with a meal that includes 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds mixed into yogurt or oatmeal. Take 500 milligrams of vitamin C, 400 international units of vitamin E, and 4 milligrams of astaxanthin with this meal. Drink 1 cup of green tea. Mid-morning, apply vitamin C serum to areas of hyperpigmentation on your face, hands, neck, or any other affected areas. Allow it to absorb for at least 5 minutes before applying other products. Lunch, include a serving of cruciferous vegetables, steamed broccoli, roasted cauliflower, or Brussels sprouts. Use olive oil for any cooking or as salad dressing. Drink 1 cup of green tea. Afternoon or dinner. If this is a fish day, consume 150 grams of salmon, mackerel, or sardines. If not a fish day, take your fish oil supplement providing 2 grams of omega-3s with this meal. Take 500 milligrams of vitamin C with this meal. Evening, final meal. Include fermented soy if this is one of your 3 to 4 soy days per week. Tempeh stir-fry, miso soup, or a small portion of natto. Close your eating window after this meal and begin your 16-hour overnight fast. Before bed, 5 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing using the same protocol as morning. This second session is critical for maintaining low cortisol levels throughout the night and optimizing autophagy during sleep. This is your complete protocol addressing all 5 mechanisms that drive age spot formation. Oxidative stress reduction through targeted antioxidants, hormonal regulation through phytoestrogens, inflammation control through omega-3 optimization and blood sugar management, cortisol regulation through breathing practice, autophagy activation through time-restricted eating and specific compounds. How old are you? Write it in the comments. I want to see which age group makes up the majority of our viewers because it will directly shape what I cover in future videos. The healthcare industry does not profit from you understanding melanin regulation. There is no billing code for teaching you about autophagy or phytoestrogens or cortisol management, and the cosmetic dermatology industry certainly won't tell you that $3,500 laser treatments can often be avoided through 6 months of specific nutritional and lifestyle intervention costing less than $100 in supplements. But here is what you can control: your antioxidant status, your hormonal balance, your inflammation levels, your stress response, and your cellular cleanup mechanisms. Your age spots are not a verdict. They are not inevitable. They are showing you visible evidence of 5 internal processes that are completely reversible through informed intervention. Subscribe to Dr. Waterling if you haven't already. Hit that like button. Share this video with someone who's been told age spots are permanent or who's considering expensive laser treatments. You may have just saved them thousands of dollars and given them a real solution that addresses the actual causes instead of destroying pigmented skin without correcting the underlying problem.